All right, welcome back. Today, we're going to dive into this really fascinating piece of ancient writing that, it doesn't really read like a sermon. It's almost like a logical proof. It's built on a super clear conditional promise. If you do this, then you will get that. It's a really powerful idea, so let's jump in and see how this ancient proof is built, step by step.
Okay, so here's the game plan. We're going to look at this idea of a search for wisdom, then the specific conditions you need to meet. From there, we'll see what gifts you get, what harm you're shielded from, and then we'll wrap up with the two final paths this whole choice leads to. It's a perfect if you do this, then you get that formula. We're going to break down every single part of it. So right from the get-go, the text frames this whole thing not as a chore, but, believe it or not, as an adventure. It's basically an invitation to a treasure hunt. But the prize? It's something way more valuable than gold or silver. It's understanding itself. And really, the whole argument of this chapter, it all hangs on this one question. The text basically proposes that wisdom isn't some gift that just, falls into your lap. No, it's a treasure. And it's one that you have to go out and find. All right, now let's get into the nitty-gritty. Before there's any talk of a reward, the text lays out these super clear conditions. This is the if part of the equation. This is the stuff you have to do. It's all on you, the seeker. And here they are, laid out in a pretty clear 4-step process. So step 1, you got to be open to it. You have to accept the words. Then you have to really listen, right? You have to incline your ear. And it's not enough to just listen, you have to want it. You've got to call out for it. And finally, the big one, you have to actually put in the work and search it out. You see how that works? It's a progression, moving from just passively taking things in to actively going after it. And this next quote, wow, it just perfectly captures the kind of intensity we're talking about here. This is not a casual browse on the internet, right? This is the same kind of focus, the same high-stakes effort you'd put in if you were looking for actual buried treasure. The message is crystal clear. How much you value the search determines whether you'll find anything at all. Okay, so you do all that. You put in the work. What happens then? Well, once those conditions are met, the text promises a pretty big payoff. This is the then part of our formula. This is the reward you get for that diligent search. So, the first and really the biggest reward is what the text calls the knowledge of God. Now, what does that mean in this context? It's really about getting a foundational understanding of how the world works, a kind of core discernment that helps everything else make sense. The bottom line, the ultimate treasure here is God. And from that core understanding, you get this whole set of practical tools for your inner life. It's like an internal toolkit. You start to be able to discern what's right, what's just, what's fair. And get this, knowledge itself becomes a joy, not a chore. And then you get these two personal bodyguards, if you will. Discretion is there to watch over you, and understanding is there to guard you. But, wisdom isn't just about all the good stuff you get. It's also about what you avoid. A huge part of its value is that it acts like a shield, protecting you from all these destructive forces and really bad paths you could go down. And the text lays out the options with, just striking clarity. On one side, you've got the straight path, integrity, justice, goodness. And on the other, the way of evil, darkness and crooked paths. It's presented as a really stark choice. There's no gray area here. So, wisdom, the text says, will save you from this first archetype, the person who intentionally twists words to be perverse. And you know this person, right? This is a timeless figure. It's anyone who pushes destructive ideas, spreads misinformation, or just leads people astray with arguments that sound clever but are totally empty. The second archetype you're saved from is what the text calls the forbidden woman. Now, this figure represents any powerful, seductive temptation. And it's not just about a person. It could be any idea, any distraction that tempts you to just throw away your commitments and your integrity, all for some short-term promise that ultimately leads to ruin.
And wow, the text is so blunt about the consequences of this. This isn't just a small detour we're talking about. It's a point of no return. This quote just hammers home how permanent that choice is. It's a one-way street, and it leads away from life. All right, so this brings us to the grand finale, the ultimate outcome. The text isn't just about the journey. It's also very, very clear about the final destination of each of these two paths.
So for those who stick to the path of wisdom and integrity, the conclusion is, well, it's stability. It's belonging. Back then, to inhabit the land meant you were secure, you were flourishing, you had a real place in the community.
And the contrast just could not be sharper. For those who choose that other crooked path, the consequence isn't just failure, it's complete removal. They are, to use the text words, cut off and uprooted. And so the text leaves us with this final, crystal clear distinction. It's a totally binary outcome. Who you are, which is defined by the path you walk, directly determines your final result. You either get to stay or you're uprooted. Simple as that. So this ancient text paints a picture of wisdom that requires serious, dedicated effort, which leaves us with a pretty big question for today, right? In our world of instant information and easy answers everywhere, what does it actually mean to value something so much that you'd search for it like it was hidden treasure?